Hello everyone, happy Tuesday. Let's make sure we're going. I'll tell a quick silly story. No, I won't. This video we're going to be talking about the afterlife. We're going to talk about my ideas of abyss and aeon and how I cope with grief and loss. But it won't be too much of a downer, I promise. So stick with us, and yeah, I think we'll have a nice time. I'll play the intro just to let people roll in, and then we'll go.
But when the show finally turned on for the first time to get the bugs worked out, it was finally in a position where we could turn it on. I had tears in my eyes. There was some problems, there were some bugs that needed to be worked out, little knick-knack, little stuff. But it didn't matter. I seen it. They came to life. For 25 years they've been sitting in a crate, and I just breathed the first breath of life into them. And yet again, there's no words to describe it. I sat here and I cried like a child because my dream had just came true.
I never walk about after dark, it's my point of view. Cause someone could break your neck, coming up behind you, always coming, and you'd never have a clue. And now I look behind all the time, I will wait forever, always looking straight, thinking, counting all the hours you wait. See you on a dark night, see you on a dark night, see you on a dark night, see you on a dark night. And now another clue I would ask, if you could help me out. It's hard to understand, cause when you're running by yourself it's hard to find someone to hold your hand. No, it's gonna be tough for me, but I will wait for you. I need someone else to look into my eyes and tell me, girl, you know you gotta watch your health. To look into my eyes and tell me, la 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 la. To look into my eyes and tell me, la 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 la. La 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 la. To look into my eyes and tell me, la 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. See you on a dark night, see you on a dark night, see you on a dark night. a dark night.
All right, everyone. Hello. It's me, and it's my dog, Winnie. I hope that this Tuesday finds you well, and I hope I don't blast the mic too much. All right. So I'm not sure how much introduction I should do, but this video will be talking about faith and our beliefs about the afterlife, and it'll be in particular about CONSCION and how there might be I'm going to offer a couple of ways of looking at death and the afterlife that maybe are a different model or way of relating with it that you can consider for using for yourself. And so with the afterlife, there's a lot of insecurity being a human being on the planet, right? Like, everything you love, you will lose over time. Whether you outlast it or it outlasts you, the relationships that we create in a very objective, tangible way won't stay forever. And it's naive to think that they will stay forever. When, what is it, the Buddhist thing, all things are impermanent, right? Life is suffering and all things are impermanent. And to be out of touch with these truths is, torment, basically. And so there's people out there that are like, well, look, if I never love, I'll never lose. Maybe I won't play the game. The best way to not get hurt is to not even try, right? But it's not worth it because you're missing out on all this beauty of being alive. And so you have to put your heart out there. I've grown up with pets my whole life. And so growing up with animals like dogs, you just come to understand that you're going to outlive them. And that, your relationship with this animal, while it's in your life for a period of time, it will be your pet for longer, hopefully if you live a long time, it'll have been your pet for longer than it, like as a dead pet, than it will be as an alive pet. And so I still think about dogs I've lost, like Bunny. There's dogs that I have a little bit of a, sad past with, and so I hold on to them with sentimentality. And maybe that's some people would say that's more or less healthy, right? Like other people would say, oh, just move on, forget about it. They think about animals without much sentiment. They might like with relationships, right? Like, oh, I broke up with somebody, and now that we're not in a relationship, I don't care about them, and you kind of like wash your hands of them. For me, it's hard to completely abandon my connection with things in the world. So even if the relationship is over, or if like somebody's no longer alive, or I'll never see them again, or whatever the reason may be, inside of me, there is still an impression. And I love to think of it like an indentation, right? Like they left this impression on me, and I have I have a direct sense of who they are, and even while they're not around me, I can imagine what they may say, their presence, right? And it's a simulation, right? Like I'm making a model in my mind. I can't actually evoke them. I understand that, but it's sad to think, like, if we lose someone, like somebody dies, that I no longer have to even consider them. Like I shouldn't even have a relationship with that dead person anymore. Like I can't talk to my grandfather, or even like a boyfriend or girlfriend. If I had a really supportive girlfriend And whenever I was having a hard time, she kind of knew the right things to say to get me through it. Do I really need her to be there? Do I need her to be my girlfriend? Do I need her to say the things? Or has she already kind of given me the pieces, and I can, it's a bit deprived, right? But I can replay it. I can summon the courage that she granted me with her words. I can think about the way that she regarded me with, some esteem or confidence. Like she saw a potential in me that others didn't, right? Even if she thinks I'm a despicable moron now or something like that. Like I understand we can kind of like cut it in a way of connecting with the good parts of our relationships while maybe not having as much of a direct, not as much immediacy of the negative stuff. Some people make a mistake of this because they see their relationships in their past with only rose-colored glasses, and so it's like the abuse cycle. Like you'll go back to somebody that's treated you bad, but if they're already dead, like let's say if I had, and this isn't the case, but if I had a bad relationship with my father and then he passed away, I don't have to, of course I should honor the bad things that he's done or this or that. Like I should, I don't need to diminish or minimize it. But as I'm growing and carrying on my life, I can connect with the things that maybe, despite all the other trouble there may have been, the things that, maybe provide a model of how I could be a good man, in spite of all of, a person's errors or, their own personal mistakes. So it's a very, I'm talking around a waxy thing. So in the afterlife, if we were strictly, let's say Christian, we would say there's a God or heaven, and they say like you'll meet your relatives after you die. And so all the stuff that I've been talking about having a relationship with people that have passed, it's a little bit less relevant, because you're like, well, we'll go to heaven and I'm going to see Auntie Sue in heaven. I don't have to cry now, right? I can, it's a belief, right? And there's something very, I think, comforting about that. I love the Rainbow Bridge thing. Every time I get the Rainbow Bridge story about my pets passing and then they're waiting for me, I get really sappy about it. So even though I don't strictly think that I'm going to see all my dogs and they're going to jump on me and lick my face after I die or something, it's still, it doesn't have to be real to be important to me. It doesn't have to be real to still affect me. And so I can think about how much joy and how much love and how much I would cherish that. And even though there's an element of loss and departure, right, because it's not real, and I feel that sadness that accompanies the joy of imagining being with them, there still is something about that of like, I'm actually considering in my mind what it's like to be holding my best friend again. And there's some people that's too emotional. It's like a landmine, right? Like there's too much going on to handle. But as you've, I'm getting like heavy, right? As you've moved further into grief and further into loss, it's a little bit less, less volatile, less explosive. Like it's something that you can approach, and the tenderness that comes with the sadness and loss, you can also have the tenderness of the beauty of your relationship. At least that's the way I don't know. And this is the thing of, are we just dressing up something that's just sad, right? Like, is death and loss just awful and there's no good way of looking at it? But we have to have a way of looking at it. We can't just ignore it, because we're going to face it no matter what. So, I don't know. There's the Christian afterlife of heaven where you'll talk to your relatives. There's reincarnation, like the Hindi thing. And in Buddhism, in particular, Buddhist reincarnation is wild. Because if you don't live a really good life while you're getting reincarnated, any of your sins, you have to go through this like really awful hell where they stick you with spears and they burn you and they freeze you and they do all kinds of stuff. And in essence, they have to purify your soul before you're reincarnated. But it's not an easy road. And then even then, when you get out of it, samsara, you can be a turtle, go for it, go turtle, like, have a good go, and maybe next time, let's see how this incarnation goes for you. I don't think the Jewish people speak specifically about a heaven, because I think that they don't lay claim to an afterlife, but they definitely favor their own people, and they think like if the whole world blew up, that they would probably be okay. Like we can kind of rest assured that that's something that they believe in. And then what the Greek and Roman idea of afterlife is kind of neat. They had the Hades, the underworld, and it wasn't necessarily it wasn't bad, but it wasn't great, right? Like, it was sort of a neutral place. I like that the Greek and Roman people in their stories had more of like an exchange between the regular world and the underworld. And so like that was the whole story of the seasons with Persephone, where because of this contract with the king of the underworld, she can only be above ground for half of the year, and then the other half of the year she has to be underground with him in the underworld. And that's why there's only spring and summer. It's sort of fun to, and then there's people you can rescue from the underworld and bring them back, and they're usually messed up, right? Like, they don't have eyes, or they're a hermaphrodite, and that's just part of it. So abyss, I want to switch into this idea of abyss that I have found comfort in, and I think it might help others feel comfort too. And I'm obviously not it's not like this is mine. Abyss has been around as an idea for a long time, but people relate with it in different ways. Like, abyss can be something that is terrifying, or something that we have some sort of comfort in. There's people that think about like the vacuum of space and how, that emptiness and how scary it is. Or on Earth, I have a bug, hold on. Most of our planet is a water planet. Like, I know that we live on the land and we're like air breathers, but most of Earth is a water planet. And so the Mariana Trench is the deepest trench on the planet. It's like, I can't even compare it to the Grand Canyon, and I'm not going to pull up any pictographics, but it's so freaking deep, and we barely know the stuff on the bottom of there, like the thermal vents. There's life that lives at these little, magma vents from the core of the Earth that provide some heat and minerals. So the abyss, like, there are things that we will never know. And that's the way it is. Like, you can't really hold on. You can't make a big deal out of it, because we're just little measly humans, right? My relationship with the abyss, as someone that doesn't believe in the afterlife, is that it is where everything goes when it's past. So if there's a miscarriage or a child passes, that child is an abyss, right? If there's a nuclear bomb and an entire village is obliterated, that goes to abyss. Right now we have in America, we're facing hurricanes, and these hurricanes are going to go through and ravage houses. In the houses are, either digital media or printed media like photographs, family heirlooms, things like that are going to be washed away and destroyed. And so, we have even the Library of Alexandria that was burned to the ground, and it had all kinds of books, human knowledge that was accumulated there, just burned and destroyed into abyss. So where is abyss? Where did it go? Well, it's nowhere, right? It doesn't exist anymore. But abyss, even though it doesn't exist right now, even though those family pictures maybe are water damaged and completely disintegrated, those were still real. They will always be real. And that can never, ever change. And if you get that, things kind of take a different dimension onto it. I don't know. I probably talk too much about relationships, but with relationships, what's the difference if let's say if someone broke up with me 10 years ago and I haven't seen them for 10 years, and someone broke up with me yesterday and I haven't seen them for a day. What is the actual difference between both situations? They're still not with me, and today they're not with me. It's just one of them happened a day ago, one of them happened 10 years ago. But they're not there, right? On the flip side, that relationship always happened. Maybe we regret it, maybe it's awkward and awful and we don't tell anyone about it, who knows? Or it's great and it's like something that I can feel good about for the rest of my life and be like, wow, that was really neat. But that will always be with us, and it can be as real as if it happened yesterday, right? Why not? And you can say I'm a loon and I'm going to be on my rocking chair smoking my pipe when I'm 90 years old and thinking about when I was, my favorite girl Susan or something. But why is that something that I can't relish and appreciate in a way that's beyond time? And so people will say, well, you're goofball. She's not with you. You're alone. You're all alone. You're by yourself. It's like, yes, you're right. I'm by myself. Whoa. But that doesn't change that, I have these encounters and, all these things that have happened to me still are real, right? Even if I don't have a family that's alive anymore, in a way they still live within me. I might be the last vessel. And that's another weird thing to think about of, maybe how many people are there to carry the stories of what's happened in the world, right? It's not everyone that keeps a diary or documents stuff, and I don't really recommend you do because it's not like a secure thing to write all your private stuff down. But you might be the last person to have any memory of what happened between you and another person, or, in essence, the living human memory of reality might rest within you as a vessel of it. And in that way, you're connecting with abyss because you have a line, you have a rope back to a completely different time in reality that is real but isn't real any longer. Abyss, another way to think of it too, and I like to think of it with recorded material, like media, songs or movies. If I'm listening to a song, you know, it's one thing, like I really like to watch, I don't know, maybe it's cliche, but watching Robin Williams movies. He's a very vibrant person, but it's also interesting to see somebody so lively and know that they're not alive anymore. And in a weird way, it's like if you watch a Robin Williams movie, you're hosting a ghost on your television and you're letting him, like it is a reanimation, right? Like you're giving him life again. Your speakers are blasting his voice in the room. His face and his expressions are on the screen, and your body, your brain is reacting to it, and you're laughing or you're smiling or crying. And so, if we love movies, if we love music, we're worshiping the past. And in essence, we're worshiping a moment that has happened and has passed and is no longer real. And so not to be confrontational, but like we are a death-obsessed culture. We're obsessed with things that have already happened. The bubble's already popped. And now I'm doing a commentary video about the commentary video. And, we're all kind of like riffing on it. But the live moment now is... we're very distracted by accounts of the past rather than being in the immediacy of the live moment. And that's a part of the power of our brain, right? Like our brain can allow us to imagine, what did you have last night for dinner? That food isn't anywhere near me. It's not real to me. It's so funny. I ask somebody what they eat for lunch and they're not able to remember. And I'm like, why can't you remember what you ate for lunch? But maybe for them, it's like, it just doesn't even, like, why would I remember what I had for lunch? It's like I already ate it. Anyways, Abyss for me, I feel some comfort because I know it's kind of fantastical, and in essence, I'm deluding myself. I really am. If I'm saying, if I lost my child, and I'm like, well, even if I'll never see my child again, at least we'll be together in Abyss. And at least our relationship with my child, even if no one knows about it, that will always be real in Abyss. No one needs to know about it. It's just there. It also gets it gets scary when you think about it, because if Abyss becomes the sum of all loss, everything that's occurred that is no longer, that also includes every voice that's unheard. And so imagine all the people that have been troubled, all the, I don't want to go into like specifics, but crimes against humanity. In Abyss, we may never hear their stories, but their stories are real and they exist in Abyss. I don't know if I'm making it clear. But if we think of it that way, imagine and it's beyond us, right? There's Akashic records. There's some like mystical idea of a record of everything that has, is, and will be. Imagine a huge book and it had every single thing that ever happened in the entire universe in this huge mythical record. Abyss does embody that in many ways because it is the reservoir where everything that ever happens goes. And there, kind of building on that idea, I have a feeling of some relief of justice, and it might be a bit like immature to try to hang on to justice or a sense of fairness, but in my heart, I think like let's say if something awful happened to a child and no one ever heard of it, and nothing ever happened to the offender, even if there's not a hell to curse the offender, even if there's not a heaven to harbor the child, in abyss, it is witnessed and it is known that this wrong happened. And in abyss, as much as it isn't anything and isn't real, at least there, that child may have peace and relief. Relief from the oppression of the world that hides the truth and that takes advantage of power to basically enchant others into believing an unreality, right? Like if it's so awful. Think about a child, and this is where I think of non-hierarchical is so important. Like if a child comes to you and tries to tell you something that happened and something that's real or something they think is real, it's really important that we at least listen to them. And maybe, we won't believe them 100% because sometimes kids are fantastical or they say magical things, but it's like that's their chance to step out of the power things, right? Like they're a small person, they can't assert themselves, they can't go hire a lawyer. When they're trying to tell you about something that happened, that's their chance to say like, hey, like, elevate this because I need help, right? And so it's so important to help them out. Let me let my dog out just a moment. So, I don't know, do any of y'all take relief in the idea of abyss? Is there anything, is that better than like an atheistic sense that there's just nothing more after we die? Because to me, it's just scary to think that we die and then in essence, like a candle, our life is whisked out. One fun thought with the afterlife or all of that, like reincarnation, is, and this is getting away from abyss now, it's more of a different thought. We think of reincarnation like maybe I'm a spirit, and if I die, my spirit will float around, and then I'll settle in somewhere else into a different body or creation. That's all fine and well, but why wouldn't your spirit dissolve and basically rejoin the world and the energy of the world, right? And so I like to think of that idea that everything is melty. Everything is melty. In the span of time, if you extend time long enough, over time, everything will basically degrade. Everything will blend together and melt and meld. And that distinction of this is me and this is that will dissolve. And, now I'm the dirt. I'm the fiber or the nutrition for the plant, right? Like why, I don't have to be worried about being in heaven or hell or being in abyss if I just join the world again, if I just become a part of the universe. And I don't know, like hanging on to life, right? Like I want to live as long as possible. I want to be 150 years old and have a robot body and all the extra parts. I think it's a bit silly. In essence, we could be grateful for the time we have in our body and as a unit, as a entity and consciousness, without being greedy and almost like I need to drink wine all the time. And it's, like I need to be on galaxy gas 24/7. That's my mandate. And if I need to level every mountain on that field to feed my incarnation, then I'll do it. It's like, okay, I don't know if you need to do that much, maybe just a bit. And so it's kind of nice to be happy with what you've got. And I've heard that from a lot of people that have chronic illnesses, where maybe like if you get a pacemaker put in and you're like, well, I basically would have died a month ago, but now I think of this as bonus time. Maybe it's a little grim thinking of it like that, but it is like a gratitude mindedness with being alive, instead of that kind of like glass half empty, I need 20 more years. Give me 20 more years. It's like, okay, dude, what are you going to do with 20 more years? Like, what? Let's see. And then you like wheel around and you take more shits. Okay, right? I don't want to be, I don't know. We shouldn't demean elders either. That does get us into the next topic I wanted to talk about, which is aeon. So we have the afterlife, we have abyss, and then aeon. And aeon would be big time. So Chronos, father time, Chronos is the wheel, the clock, progressive, past, present, future in a linear fashion. We live in that because that's how we have to, right? Like, I ate the cookie and now it's gone. There's not any other way. You can't reverse time. We love to do the fictional time travel. Oh, if I could take it all back, oh, the things I would do, and whatever it might be. Or you end up flirting with your mom at the prom. Come on, man, get it together. But that's not the time we're talking about here. Aeon, so big time with aeon would be more of that cyclical time. You think about the planets, stellar bodies that are spinning around, that reliability of the day and the sun, the season. There's aeon in daily routine. So if every day, if I wake up and I make a coffee and I do a puzzle and I brush my teeth, and that's something I do every single day, in a way I am occupying an aeon-like behavior, because it's not about, is it Tuesday, Monday, Thursday, whichever. It's that this I've chosen as my forever activity. And when you think about lifestyle activities in that dimension, it's kind of neat. Like, okay, if I ate 4 burgers every day, where will I go, right? If I do 20 push-ups a day and I made that every day, and obviously that's not, these aren't, it's good to have, like workout routines and schedules. Like, you don't have to do the same thing every day, but there are some things that, in an aeon sense, it's just like, it doesn't matter when or how or what, like, I'd want to do that. It kind of makes me think about little slices of heaven, and it's a weird idea. This is a brief cutaway from aeon, but little slices of heaven. What would heaven look like if heaven were real? And I think we get the wrong impression that heaven is like a ditty party or something. And it's like, no, that's not what heaven would be. Heaven might be like you just sitting and having a nice time with your friends, and like it's just like a really good vibe, right? It's not this it doesn't have to be like this egregious extra thing. And so I've thought about that while I'm just like enjoying my time. And maybe for me, heaven is me cooking pancakes in the morning and, with my family while they're playing games on the TV or something. And it doesn't have to be complicated, like it can be modest and nice. So little slices of heaven, I don't know. I connect with that. In aeon, then I think of, and it does come back to abyss, right? Like I have relationships, like the family that I love. If either of us die, there's a part of what we've done that's so real that it doesn't matter, right? Like even if we're not together, what we've had and like the preciousness of our relationship, right? Like the things that are really great, that is eternal and beyond any kind of a time element. It is a bit of a, what is it? Is it more delusion, right? Aeon. People would say, why are you connecting with time out of time if it's actually Tuesday, right? Why are you thinking about millions of years ago or something? But for me, I just kind of would shoot back like, why not, right? Why can't I connect with maybe what I'm, like, think about this, like if you're sitting there and you stub your toe, I don't know, you're sitting there, you're walking and you stub your toe and you're like, and it hurts, you're like, oh, right? It sucks. I can think about it just like that. But imagine ancestrally, everybody that's had your DNA in your history, the memory that's within your body, that's written into your code, that feeling in you is a feeling that your ancestors had. And that reflex, whether you get irritated or you laugh it off or you however you might react to what's happening in the world, in a way, it's a refraction of your ancestors and their way of coming to terms with being alive on the planet. And so if you're having a good day, that's fun, right? If you're having a bad day, it is what it is. But in essence, you are you're living a life with your DNA, with the kit of your ancestors on this world. And you can't possibly separate yourself from them. They're inside of you. So I don't know where I'm quite taking this beyond, even if you feel like you're alone, you have millions of years of people that have come together to make you who you are and to make you here on this planet right now. And that's something that you can kind of like, I don't know, I find some relief in that, right? Like I can muster some spirit and strength at the bottom of the well if there's nothing else for me, because I can be like, you know what? I wouldn't have been here if it weren't for like all these people that would have, maybe gotten their lights snuffed out, but they kept going. And maybe I need to keep going too. That is to me the kind of like an aeon dimension of time relating with things, because it's so the span and the scope of it is so absurd. If somebody's giving you a bunch of drama and gossip too, aeon helps out. It's funny if somebody's pissed off because the sandwich that they ordered has mayonnaise and they don't like mayonnaise. I hate mayonnaise, okay? Don't ever put mayonnaise on my sandwich, ever. But let's say I get a sandwich with mayonnaise, and I'm like, I'm about to blow up. I'm about to, ugh. It doesn't matter, right? In the grand scheme of things, in aeon, whether or not there's frickin' mayonnaise on a slice of bread on a plate in front of you, it doesn't matter. And it's like, I know like a lot of people don't like hearing it, like having their feelings invalidated, but in essence, like zooming out, so many things are less consequential. There is another part of me that's like, of course it matters, everything matters. And if you drop your toast and it lands butter side down, in the world of abyss, your toast always landed buttered side down. And that's always going to suck, right? Like I see that too, right? We get both sides. But if you do zoom out, like so many of the things that humans get hung up about, like if I'm honking my horn in traffic, it's not worth it, right? Like I don't need to be hollering and screaming and losing my lid. And so there, I don't know, aeon, there is a bit more of a, like aeon would connect with that reliability, right? Like maybe there's something going on right now, but within aeon, the world and the universe has its own order and harmony that is beyond domination, right? Like it's almost like the universal truths live within aeon because they have all the time in the world to play out. There's other people that have written on these things, and really I'm sorely aware of needing collaborators, but those ideas for me, especially when it comes to grief, those ideas have helped give me a lot of comfort and like something to hang on to when, as like an agnostic or atheist person, I didn't have anything else. I didn't believe in an afterlife. I think that a lot of that's kind of rosy and nice, but it's so weird. There's I'll call people out, name names, right? Apparently the Church of Latter-day Saints, their version of heaven, they think is limited. So there's only so many people that can get into their version of heaven, which is like, it's such a paradox because, how do you have heaven limited in size? Like, is there like a freaking fire code or something for how many people can be in heaven? It doesn't make sense, right? Just a moment. Okie dokie. I mostly wanted to talk about those two things. I had some other broader thoughts. I mean, we could talk about other myths, but I want to do a thing just to close this out, and it's kind of made up, but kind of a short renunciation ritual. And what I mean by that is where, so there's all kinds of things in the world that we don't have power over. There's things that I can control. I can decide if I have what kind of shirt I have on or whatever. And then there's things that I can't control, like if there's awful tragic things happening in the world or this or that. And it's hard to be very aware in an information age of everything happening all over the planet and then not really have any kind of tangible way of affecting it and influencing it. And what that breeds is a sense of helplessness and despair. So renunciation is one way that I have a bit of made up, holier than thou-ness. Like I have some detachment and disownment from the wrongs of the world without me having, and obviously as much as I can, I will try to stop these things, but it feels good to just say outright that I don't want anything to do with it. And it's sort of a lot of the things that we might renounce and to say, I don't agree with this are obvious, but for us to say it out loud and to say that we don't agree with it out loud is, it's still important, and it's like casting a spell, because you're declaring something. Not only are you declaring it, your body is saying it, you're hearing it, and in a way it's a manifestation, right? It is like casting a spell, like Leviosa, right? So we're going to renounce some things. You're welcome to renounce them with me, with a quiet nod or anything, or renounce things yourself. And we're just going to piss YouTube off. Are you ready to get YouTube really pissed off? Because we're going to say all the words. I renounce genocide. I want nothing to do with genocide. I want no association with it. I don't agree with it. I want it to never happen. I renounce the murder of innocent people and children. I want nothing to do with murder, and I want nothing to do with the harm of children. I don't agree with that whatsoever. I find them completely unacceptable. I renounce nuclear war and the use of nuclear weapons that could destroy our planet and could make our entire planet uninhabitable for human life. I renounce intrusions on the bodies of others and forcing things into and on people that don't welcome those things, whether that is in many forms. And I renounce indoctrination. I renounce propaganda. I renounce deception. I renounce the people that would want us to be confused, angry, fearful, and hollow. I renounce self-harm. I don't believe in hurting yourself if there's no purpose or use or need, if it's not, for just for self-destruction's sake. I renounce that, and I don't agree with it. So you can see it's not the most chipper thing, right? Like this, we're going to end it great. But we can, after doing all of that, you are in a clearing, right? Like there is, with all that said, what are we left with, right? I'd like to think you're left with some nice people that have shared sensibilities and a heart for, the human race, humankind. And maybe with that renunciation, like maybe with that washing our hands of it, we can find a different creative energy that is beyond the influences of those oppressive evil things. And that's really, for me, when I engage with renunciation, it is like that. In a radical weird way, it's like, how do you find I'll put this question out. It won't make sense to a lot of people, but how do you get a 9-volt battery that is free of sin? If you really think of like everything that happens to make a 9-volt battery, how would you get a sinless 9-volt battery? And in a renunciation sense, you really do have to like clean that battery and wash it of all kinds of things before it actually gets to your hands and is sinless. Because the world is so tangled up. Now people might think, oh, you're such a millennial, it's like awareness is enough to make change. But in essence, for me to say I don't agree with it, it's a start, right? Like at the very least, I've said it. I don't agree with it. And I said it out loud. And it's better than not saying it, right? It's there. So I think that'll be good enough. I got to figure out what lovely thing to play you guys out with. Let's try this. So Abyss, in lieu of a brighter world, we turn to the computer. And in the computer, they have endless documented archives of reality and things that we've said and done. And so I do look at the internet like the Mariana Trench. It's huge, it's immense, it's deep. But there's also a lot of dangerous stuff out there. So I'll see you guys out there. And I'll be back on Thursday, Thursday afternoon, I'll go. Thanks for joining.
It's a fine grind, clearing out my cash line, speeding up my RAM time, coordinated light lines. If you need to move, I recommend computers. They can make you groove like I bet you never knew. Did you? Oh, the complication when I feel your air control my body heat. I wanna feel it. I must ignore your touch. I feel yo. Gotta know what you do, what you doing. I love what you're doing to me. On my mind, I love you. And your computer screen goes back online. Love what you're doing to me. On my mind, I love you. And your computer screen touches on mine. Hold them to execute. Let me know what to do. Read me TXT. Leave it all up, leave it all up, leave it all up to me. Check all my internal drives. I bet my solid state is getting softer now. Softer. Factory resets, bets. Waking up new and so clean is the best. Operating on the lowest of line. CPU in drive. Love what you're doing to me. On my mind, I love you. And your computer screen goes back online. Love what you're doing to me. On my mind, I love you. And your computer screen touches on mine.